Memory 256 MB, free space 1.5 GB. Master boot record used. D. MediaTek ROM drive or compatible display Super VGA 800, 600. Sound hardware N/A sound card plus speakers / headphones input device S. Keyboard, mouse 64-bit edition. K. CPU Titanium 733 Titanium 800 Memory 1 GB, free space 6 MediaTek ROM drive or compatible display Super VGA 800, 600. Input device S. Keyboard, mouse. Notes. A system requirements for Windows XP operating systems. The 28th of April, 2005. Archived from the original on the 6th of August, 2011. Retrieved the 12th of March, 2007. B. Even though this is Microsoft's stated minimum processor speed for Windows XP, it is possible to install and run the operating system on early IA32 processors such as AP5 Pentium without MMX instructions. Windows XP is not compatible with processors older than Pentium, such as 486, or the Cyrix 6x86 because it requires CMPX-CHG8B. See Pentium F00F bug instructions. See Windows XP minimal requirement test.winhistory.de. The 9th of September, 2011. Archived from the original on the 21st of December, 2011. Retrieved the 1st of January, 2012. D. Windows XP, required firmware and partition mapping scheme of hard disk drive. Support.microsoft.com, the 26th of June, 2013. Archived from the original on the 27th of April, 2017. Retrieved the 16th of June, 2014. EA Microsoft TechNet paper from summer 2001. Before Windows XP's actual release, status that a computer with 64 MB of RAM will have sufficient resources to run Windows XP and a few applications with moderate memory requirements. Emphasis added. These were as aid to be office productivity applications, email programs, and web browsers of the time. With such a configuration, user interface enhancements and fast user switching are turned off by default. For comparable workloads, 64 MB of RAM was then regarded as providing an equal or better user experience on Windows XP with similar settings than it would with Windows ME on the same hardware. In a later section of the paper, superior performance over Windows ME was noted with 128 MB of RAM or more, and with computers that exceed minimum hardware requirements. F. Secrest, Stuart, Fortin, Michael. The 1st of June, 2001. Windows XP performance. Microsoft TechNet. Archived from the original on the 27th of July, 2010. Retrieved the 8th of April, 2008. G. Hard disk space requirements for Windows XP Service Pack 1. Microsoft. The 29th of October, 2007. Archived from the original on the 21st of April, 2012. Retrieved the 6th of April, 2012. H. The hard disk space requirements for Windows XP Service Pack 2. Microsoft. The 18th of April, 2005. Archived from the original on the 24th of November, 2010. Retrieved the 1st of December, 2010. iWindows XP end of support, migration guide, download TechNet. TechNet.Microsoft.com 2007. Archived from the original on the 13th of May, 2008. J. Windows XP Professional x64 Edition SP2VLEN, MSDN TechNet. Programmer Stuffs. the 23rd of March, 2011. Archived from the original on the 14th of July, 2014. Retrieved the 2nd of May, 2012. K Microsoft Windows XP 64-bit edition. Microsoft TechNet. Microsoft. The 15th of August, 2001. Archived from the original on the 19th of April, 2012. Retrieved the 2nd of May, 2012. Physical memory limits. The maximum amount of RAM that Windows XP can support varies depending on the product edition and processor architecture. All 32-bit editions of XP support up to 4 GB, except the Windows XP Start Edition, which supports up to 512 MB of RAM. 107 64-bit editions support up to 128 GB. 108 processor limits. Windows XP Professional supports up to 2 physical processors. Winking sad smiley 109. Windows XP Home Edition supports only 1.110. However, XP supports a greater number of logical processors. 32-bit editions support up to 32 logical processors, 111, and 64-bit editions support up to 64 logical processors. 112. Upgradability. Several Windows XP components are upgradable to the latest versions, which include new versions introduced in later versions of Windows, and other major Microsoft applications are available. These latest versions for Windows XP include ActiveSync 4.5, DirectX 9.0c, the 7th of June, 2010, redistributable. Internet Explorer 8 on Windows XP Service Packs 2 and 3, Internet Explorer 6 SP1 and Outlook Express 6 SP1 on Windows XP before SP2. Windows Media Format Runtime and Windows Media Player 11 on Windows XP Service Packs 2 and 3, and Windows Media Player 10 on Windows XP Original Release. Microsoft Virtual PC 2004 and 2007. .NET Framework up to and including version 4.0, 4.5 and higher versions are not supported. Visual Studio 2005 on Windows XP versions below SP2, Visual Studio 2008 on Windows XP SP2 and Visual Studio 2010 on Windows XP SP3. Windows Script Host 5.7. Windows Installer 4.5. Microsoft NetMeeting 3.02. Office 2010 was the last version of Microsoft Office to be compatible with Windows XP. The Windows services for Unix subsystem can be installed to allow certain Unix-based applications to run on the operating system. Support life cycle. Support status summary. Expiration date mainstream support April 14, 2009, for extended support April 8, 2014, for the official exceptions ended in April 2019. Support for the original release of Windows XP, without a service pack, ended on the 30th of August, 2005. 4. Both Windows XP Service Pack 1 and 1AM were retired on the 10th of October, 2006. 4. And both Windows 2000 and Windows XP SP2 reached their end of support on the 13th of July, 2010, about 24 months after the launch of Windows XP Service Pack 3.4. The company stopped general licensing of Windows XP to OEMs and terminated retail sales of the operating system on the 30th of June, 2008. 17 months after the release of Windows Vista. 114. However, an exception was announced on April 3, 2008, for OEMs producing what it defined as ultra-low cost. Applicable XP editions: Home Edition, Professional Edition, Professional X64 Edition, Professional for Embedded Systems, Media Center Editions, All, Starter Edition, Tablet PC Edition and Tablet PC Edition 2005, 4, as well as Windows Fundamentals for Legacy PCs. 113. Exceptions: Windows XP 64-bit Edition, Itanium Edition including version 2003, unsupported as of June 30, 2005, 5. Windows XP Embedded mainstream support ended on January 11, 2011, 4. Extended support ended on January 12, 2016, 4. Windows Embedded 4.0 Service mainstream support ended on April 12, 2011, 6. Extended support ended on April 12, 2016, 6. Windows Embedded Standard 2009 mainstream support ended on January 14, 2014. Extended support ended on January 8, 2019, 7. Windows Embedded POS-Ready 2009 mainstream support ended on April 8, 2014. Extended support ended. Personal computers, particularly netbooks, until 1 year after the availability of Windows 7 on the 22nd of October, 2009. Analysts felt that move was primarily intended to compete against Linux-based netbooks, although Microsoft's Kevin Hoods stated that the decision was due to apparent market demand for low-end computers with Windows. 115. Variants of Windows XP for embedded systems have different support policies. Windows XP Embedded SP3 and Windows Embedded 4.0 Service SP3 were supported until January and April 2016, respectively. Windows Embedded Standard 2009, which was succeeded by Windows Embedded Standard 7, and Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009, which was succeeded by Windows Embedded POS Ready 7, were supported until January and April 2019, respectively. 116. These updates, while intended for the embedded editions, could also be downloaded on standard Windows XP with a registry hack, which enabled unofficial patches until April 2019. However, Microsoft advised Windows XP users against installing these fixes, citing incompatibility issues. 9. 117. End of support. On the 14th of April, 2009, Windows XP exited mainstream support and entered the extended support phase. Microsoft continued to provide security updates every month for Windows XP. However, free technical support, warranty claims, and design changes were no longer being offered. Extended support ended on April 8, 2014, over 12 years after the release of Windows XP. Normally Microsoft products have a support life cycle of only 10 years. 118. Beyond the final security updates released on April 8, no more security patches or support information are provided for XP free of charge. Critical patches will still be created and made available only to customers subscribing to a paid custom support plan. 119. As it is a Windows component, all versions of Internet Explorer for Windows XP also became unsupported. 120. In January 2014, it was estimated that more than 95% of the 3 million automated teller machines in the world were still running Windows XP, which largely replaced IBM's OS/2 as the predominant operating system on ATMS. ATMS have an average life cycle of between 7 and 10 years, but some have had life cycles as long as 15. Plans were being made by several ATM vendors and their customers to migrate to Windows 7 based systems over the course of 2014. while vendors have also considered the possibility of using Linux-based platforms in the future to give them more flexibility for support life cycles, and the ATM Industry Association, ATMIA, has since endorsed Windows 10 as a further replacement. 121. However, ATMs typically run the on April 9, 2019, 8. Embedded variant of Windows XP, which was supported through January 2016. 122. As of May 2017, around 60% of the 220,000 ATMs in India still run Windows XP. 123. Furthermore, at least 49% of all computers in China still ran XP at the beginning of 2014. These holdouts were influenced by several factors. Prices of genuine copies of later versions of Windows in the country are high, while Ni Guangnan of the Chinese Academy of Sciences warned that Windows 8 could allegedly expose users to surveillance by the United States government. 124, and the Chinese government banned the purchase of Windows 8 products for government use in May 2014 in protest of Microsoft's inability to provide guaranteed support. 125. The government also had concerns that the impending end of support could affect their anti-piracy initiatives with Microsoft, as users would simply pirate newer versions rather than purchasing them legally. As such, government officials formally requested that Microsoft extend the support period for XP for these reasons. While Microsoft did not comply with their requests, a number of major Chinese software developers, such as Lenovo, Kingsoft and Tencent, will provide free support under sources for Chinese users migrating from XP. 126. Several governments, in particular those of the Netherlands and the United Kingdom, elected to negotiate custom support plans with Microsoft for the continued internal use of Windows XP. The British government's deal lasted for a year, and also covered support for Office 2003. Which reached end of life the same day, and cost £5.5 million. 127. On the 8th of March, 2014, Microsoft deployed an update for XP that, on the 8th of each month, displays a pop-up notification to remind users about the end of support. However, these notifications may be disabled by the user. 128. Microsoft also partnered with Laplink to provide a special express version of its Peak Mover software to help users migrate files and settings from XP to a computer with a newer version of Windows. 129. An electroencephalograph running on Windows XP. The medical industry's continued use of Windows XP partly due to medical applications being incompatible with later versions of Windows. Despite the approaching end of support, there were still notable holdouts that had not migrated past XP. Many users elected to remain on XP because of the poor reception of Windows Vista. Sales of newer PCs with newer versions of Windows declined because of the Great Recession and the effects of Vista, and deployments of new versions of Windows in enterprise environments require a large amount of planning, which include testing applications for compatibility, especially those that are dependent on Internet Explorer 6, which is not compatible with newer versions of Windows. 130. Major security software vendors, including Microsoft itself, plan to continue offering support and definitions for Windows XP past the end of support to varying extents, along with the developers of Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Opera web browsers. Winking sad smiley 120. Despite these measures, critics similarly argued that users should eventually migrate from XP to a supported platform. 131. The United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team released an alert in March 2014 advising users of the impending end of support, and informing them that using XP after April the 8th of May prevent them from meeting U.S. government information security requirements. 132. Microsoft continued to provide security